Number 27 is the purchase authorization for heavy and light-duty vehicles. You can see the 4 different sources that we use to replace our different types of vehicles. Included within this are 6 fully electric vehicles, 3 sedans and 3 vans, and also 24 electric golf carts. Total not to exceed $5.6 million.
Any questions by the commissioners?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Long.
So, given our discussions that we have had, Barry, with regard to resiliency and sustainability, and the great presentation that was made to us by our consultant, why are we only having 6 electric vehicles included in this big, long list of purchases?
So as part of that implementation, the strategy is that we have to build up an infrastructure to support that. The other thing is that the electric vehicles simply are not available under cooperative contracts also. There's an infrastructure backlog there that as that supply chain catches up, we'll then also be able to build out our infrastructure, have our mechanics and retooling necessary to support them. This allows us to bring some online, gain that experience while we're building out that long-term plan.
Well, I think we could do better than 6. Just my opinion. I mean, either we mean what we say or we don't, and we have to keep on pushing to get to where we want to be. And so how long, for example, is it going to take us to put the infrastructure in place? It's going to take a while for all these vehicles to come to us anyway, right?
That's true, but we also have to put out charging stations. You've encouraged us to go after grants and things like that to be able to augment that cost. Well, we're applying for those, but we have no idea how much grant money we're going to receive to be able to build out that infrastructure. We've had conversations with Duke and their programs, and so we're continuing to work on that. But remember, we gave you a 5-year plan, and that was just a couple of months ago. So it is going to take some time, but this allows us to get started and work on that plan while we're executing on the various phases.
I think we can be a little more robust, and that's just my opinion. And this is a lot of equipment that we're going to be stuck with. What's the life of this equipment going to be worth?
Depends on the type of vehicle.
Well, just an average. We're going to have it for years.
For a light-duty vehicle, probably, 4 years, 5 years?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and I think, I'm sure we'll be hopefully continuing to monitor the prices that we're getting, the cost. There's not a contract in place, but I know that we had recently some folks tell us that, Detroit and the likes are retooling, and they are trying to come up with additional volume of this to drive these prices down. I'm not been out comparing prices, but I'm just assuming that right now that there's a significant price structure difference, and that will start to equalize.
As that supply chain builds out, they'll be able to get on these competitive contracts. One of the problems is they're not on the competitive contract because they don't have the supply necessary for the demand, and so there's a period there where it has to catch up.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Yes, Commissioner Seal.
Well, I agree with Commissioner Long, but I wonder whether we've always had a pretty aggressive replacement schedule, and given the price differential and the delay in the supply chain and so on, maybe it's worth waiting and holding on to these vehicles for another year and see what happens. I mean, some of them, kind of reevaluate this and really just replace what's necessary. Just a thought.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Commissioner Long.
That's a really good point that Commissioner Seal made. I mean, do we have to put this large of an order out there right now? I think we should be broadcasting what our intentions are so that people know. We're never going to get caught up to where we need to be if we just, go at a snail's pace and we don't really push the envelope to try to speed it up. I mean, let me tell you something. The Earth is not going to wait for us, and our kids and our grandkids are going to be stuck with the result. So this is the very least we can do, is to try to do the best that we can do and be leaders in this arena.
Commissioner, I don't know what to tell you. We laid out a 5-year plan, and that 5-year plan looked at both the availability, it also looked at the cost effectiveness of that, but it was also very intentional on where we put, for instance, the trickle chargers, the chargers that cost a few $1,000s versus where we're investing, and you have the rapid chargers and things like that. We're overlaying that with our space plan because we don't want to make investments of a place that we're going to lease. So we're trying to figure all that out, and that was just a few months ago. So we still have ongoing vehicle demands, and this is our normal replacement schedule. These will come around when we start implementing and we start buying more. As that supply chain catches up, it's going to take us several years even to do the replacements, and we're going to have an infrastructure available to support that. That is going to take some time. I see Joe standing back there. He could, I'll let him speak if he has anything more to add, who is actually working on this. But
Joe Laura with Administrative Services. Barry's 100% correct. On top of that, the bulk of our fleet is heavy equipment and pickup trucks. Honestly, Commissioner, and we're with you 100%. We really are, and we have a plan going forward. There's only one manufacturer right now who's making electric pickup trucks, and they're making 3,000 a year. So the economy of scale just is not there. The equipment that you see that we're replacing has to be replaced. It's worn out. It's way beyond its useful life. In fact, we have delayed a lot of replacements because of that. Because we do have a plan, a strategic plan. We're hoping one or more manufacturers, aside from Ford, start producing pickup trucks, because then we can actually have competition to buy from. Right now, between the supply chain concerns, the chip shortage, and everything else, it's really created a backlog in orders, and it's not just us, it's pretty universal throughout the industry. So it's pretty tough right now. It really is.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, I understand that, Joe, and I'm not trying to give everybody a hard time.
Oh, no, we
but
understand.
I don't have my head in the sand either. And I know that given where the whole world is going on these issues, that there's no question in my mind that that supply chain will even out. They will start production again, because as you and I and everyone both know, it's all about the money. And it's going to put a lot of people to work and help the economy grow at the same time. So what we're really looking for, what I'm really looking for, is a change in the culture of how we think about these issues that are so critical to our survival. This isn't just I can't support this because I just think it's contrary to everything we need to be doing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Joe, I think your comment on the fact that there's a backlog of product is one thing, but the fact that they're not tooled enough yet to create the number of vehicles, forget the backlog. Just that's what Detroit's doing. They're retooling, and in the next 3 to 5 years, I think they're seeing that the market is heading in a different direction, more
Absolutely.
towards electric vehicles, and I think it's going to be a natural evolvement into that product line and that availability. And frankly, I think we ought to be cognizant of the tax dollars that we're using in the meantime. And if the next 5 or 6 years comes and goes, these trucks that we're now replacing will be up again, and hopefully by then there'll be a different story. But in any event, appreciate your comments. Appreciate your comments as well. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. I don't think I got a motion on this. You move approval? Okay. Commissioner Peters on the motion, Commissioner Gerard on the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
The motion passes 6-1. Okay, moving on to item 28.